Hello, Papoki here, and welcome back to another build video. So today we are going over Ophidia Spathe again. So Ophidia Spathe I've gone over a few times on this channel, but in Renegades it has had three major changes affect it that make it really good, way better than it used to be in Edge of Fate. So the first change we're going to cover real quick is you no longer have to wear the exotic. Ophidia Spathe is kind of ugly and it is unshaderable, but now you can just boop, take it off. So what is Ophidia Spathe do? It's going to give you a second knife per charge, which means for knife trick, weighted knife and proximity knife, you're going to get 2 charges, and lightweight already has 2 charges, so it's not going to go to 3, it is going to stay at 2. Getting a final blow with those knives are going to give you a damage buff that stacks up to 3 times, scissor fingers times 3. That is going to end up in a 200% damage increase for your knives that lasts for 5 seconds. You can extend this timer by getting more melee kills or using a gambler's dodge, which will refresh the timer back up to 5 seconds. Now, this exotic has some little intricacies here, like if an enemy dies by an ignition dealt by a knife trick knife, it will refund 2 charges of your knife. At the same time, if you have no knife charges and you use a gambler's dodge, it is going to give you 2 knife charges back regardless if you're near an enemy or not. So you get 2 knives per charge, you get 2 knives per dodge, you get 2 knives on this, and the knives deal 200% increased damage. So the second large thing that has been made different that is in buff this build is that all solar melees have had their damages increased by 50% versus red bars and 36% versus all other enemies. This is massive. We're talking knives could barely kill minus 30 red bars. Now they are smoking them. So getting the initial stack up on Ophidia Spathe has never been easier. And the third and final massive change to this build is Bastion has been not sunset. It has been sun rose. You can officially equip Bastion again. Yippee! So yeah, Bastion was sunset in Edge of Fate, but it is officially back as a featured weapon, as all exotics are now featured. So you can equip it and have your fun with it. Now, what does Bastion do? It is a fusion rifle that fires like a shotgun, and every 2 bursts of pellets you get gives you a melee damage increase that is ridiculously high. We're talking scissor fingers times 3 plus Bastion will easily one-shot any champion in the entire game. Now, for your stats, we're going to run low health, 150 melee, 70 grenade, 70 super, 100 class, and 70 weapons. Your armor set bonus doesn't matter, but if you have Smoke Jumper or the Pharaoh whatever, the new set from Vanguard Ops, those will work really good here. Now, for our subclass tree, we are running any super you wish, Gambler's Dodge to get our 2 knives back, Knife Trick because it is the highest damaging melee in the game and it scorches, Healing Grenade to get us out of sticky situations and to proc Empyrean, Knock 'em down so that when we're using Ember of Torches, all our knife kills will refund the knife that you used to kill said enemy, and on your mark. While at 10 stacks, this is going to cure you on every single kill and refresh said stacks, which means that Knife Trick is going to give you cure on kill, and is going to extend your restoration through Ember of Empyrean. Now, for our fragments, we are running Ember of Torches. This is going to give you Radiant when you get a hit on a melee when you get hit with a melee ability. This is going to proc knock him down, refund your melee, blah blah blah. Next we have Ember of Singeing. This is going to work with Knife Trick. Knife Trick scorches enemies that it hits, and that means you dodge to get your knives back. 1 Knife Trick is going to equal around 1 Gambler's Dodge, so Singeing plus Knife Trick plus Gambler is a self-completing loop. Next up is the classic Mercy and Searing combo. So Mercy gives you restoration when you pick up a fire sprite, and Searing is going to make a fire sprite when you kill a scorched enemy. All enemies killed by our Knife Trick are counted as scorched enemies. So every enemy we kill with our melee, not on cooldown, is going to give us a fire sprite, which gives us restoration. Then we can extend the restoration from Ember of Mercy and Searing with Ember of Empyrean. Also, you can extend Healing Grenade. Ember of Empyrean is going to extend our Radiant and Restoration timers when we get a kill with a solar weapon or solar ability. This is really good to just keep the whole loop going. And let's look at the mods here. So for a helmet, you can kind of do whatever you wish here. I like having a siphon available to me, but if you really feel like it, you can use a hands-on or dynamo here. Any of this works. I like siphons because I still use my primary, but you could very well just throw a hands-on here, so I guess I'll just put it on there. For our gauntlets, we are running 2 heavy-handed, so we make an orb every 5 seconds with our knives, and a focusing strike, so we get more bonus to singeing. When we hit an enemy with our knife, it's going to give us around 12 to 20% of our class ability back, which is pretty good. For our chestplate, we are running a concussive dampener and a melee damage resist. We are going to be near enemies all the time, so this is going to help us out greatly. For our boots, I am running a Better Already, Stacks on Stacks, and Kinetic Scavenger. I'm running a Kinetic Scavenger for Bastion, and I'm running Stacks on Stacks, so it only takes me 2 orbs to get it 1 special finisher. Now, if you want to change out Stacks on Stacks for recuperation, you can, but I'll say that Solar has enough healing at base where you don't really need it. Next up, for our class, we are using a special finisher, so every time we have 3 armor charge stacks when you have stacks on stacks, it only takes 2 orbs, blah 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 blah, and then you get a special finisher, you get your Bastion ammo back. Man, I suck. Powerful attraction, so we pick up the orbs around us when we dodge, and Reaper, so that when we dodge and we get a weapon kill like from Bastion or our Year Tie to Apex, that is going to give us a free orb of power. And I'm using a Specialist melee tuning, Brawler grenade tuning, Specialist melee tuning, Grenadier melee weapons tuning. So I am going to showcase this build inside of the Nessus -30 Lost Sector. Now, they have changed the difficulty on Lost Sectors a bit. It kind of feels like how they used to be before Edge of Fate. So -30 Conflux is really difficult, and if you want to test that for yourself, you can run it. It's right here. Anyways, on to the gameplay. So the goal of the build is to stack up your scissor fingers up to ×3, and then unleash that onto your nearest major or champion. So we got an unstop right here. He's goner. His buddy is also a goner. Let's deal with this anti-barrier. Boop, dead. And then let's clear up some chaff here. Another anti-barrier down. I see another one. Goodbye to that unstop. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you believe this Lost Sector is like too easy or something, I recommend you run this Lost Sector yourself on Nessus. It is right here. And make sure you run it on the hardest difficulty. So yeah, the only major downside of this build in Solar as a whole is you have access to no damage resist whatsoever. With Renegades, they made the damage resist on seasonal thing go to 1%. I think this is a bug, but if it's not, then yeah. Solar has no damage resist, so you're going to be a little squishy, but you do have Cure on every kill and Restoration going at all times. That keeps you generally alive, and you know, it's all for the stopping power. You can one-shot melee an anti-barrier and an unstopped champion, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for being a member. Davey, Maya, Erwin, Zephyr, Frogcat Dog, Kikiri, Rimu, Easties, Joy-Con, Pukang Kang, Tanner White, Seppuku Angel, Second Minx, Equitas, Dote, Zesty Lime, Nate DK, Kyrain, Vinny Rotten, Danny Lucano, Luke L, Oaxis, Derek KM, Kenguap, E Brainrot, Other Siddle, Vaughn, EOD Georgiam, Sizzlin Rice, Kazuria, Mealy, Gomi Boy, Igerios, Jen, JJPOH, Fumitaki, that guy's name, Cosmilk, Radiant Foxy, Cajun, Legit, African American Spy, Golden Channel, Nick Collection Gaming, BLK Finest, and Chris Dodge. Thank you for being members.